speak about the, thank you, hear about the challenges and the unique aspects. We have with us Dr. Ayman Agbaria. He's the chair of the steering committee for Sindiana, the Arab Youth Village for Leadership, and also a lecturer at the University of Haifa and a faculty member at Mendel Leadership Institute, one of my alma mater. Very nice, Dr. Agbaria, that you're with us. And Ali Haidar, I was lucky enough to see Ali. There you are. He's an advisor and a director of programs and initiatives at Sindiana. So thank you both. And if I may, let me ask you the same. What was your path to your current position? How do you find yourself connected to Sindiana? And then we can move on from there. So Dr. Agbaria, why don't you begin?
1 second before you begin, I just want to say I need to leave. Thank you so much for the opportunity that I had here to speak to such unique people, even though that I don't know you and I didn't hear no details about you. But I'm sure that if we are gathered here today with Jerry, then we are all friends here, I'm sure.
Very nice. Thank you, Israel.
Thank you so much. So
Did you just say hello to me?
You might have.
Thank you. Thank you for convening this gathering, though it's online, but thank you very much for this opportunity to talk about Sindiana. My path to Sindiana went through Ali's paths. Ali Haidar, he actually recruited me for this endeavor. We are friends for many years. I've been a board member of the directors board of Sikui, where he used to be the co-director of Sikui, and then our paths intersected in Mandel's. He was there a fellow, I was there a faculty member, and I mean, he came with this vision of having a school for Arab youth. Very distinctive, very pioneering, in the sense that the vision is about cultivating the personality, the individuality, the humanity of the students. It's not to construct a school that will not be chasing again and again for achievements, for grades, for another bagrut or another position, for access to the university. We will do that, he said to me, but we want to invest in their humanity, and their to exercise their full humanity, their humanity to be recognized. And I thought this was a slogan, it was a nice to say, but then we actually, things started building up. The school was there, and I was there, working with teachers and with the principal. And I'm happy that I'm part of this project that really, trying to invest in our pupils as a human beings, as not only a factory for grades, as a this might be the most anti-neoliberal school that I know ever. Maybe with Ruhama's schools. It's similar in this way, that we don't want to put only the whole thing on the grades, but also to invest on the capabilities, capacities, wishes, dreams, wants of the students, to be attentive to it. So this was my path to Sindiana. I would say more about that.
Ali, how did you get to where you are with Sindiana?
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for all of you to attend this meeting, and especially I would like to thank Bob and Doris, that they are our friend, that they support Bob and Doris Gordon from Boston, And I was one of the two co-executive directors of SIKUI, the Organization for the Advancement of Civic Equality between Arabs and Jews in Israel. And this is the leading organization in this issue for 10 years. And after that, I was accepted to be fellow in the Mandel Leadership Institute in Jerusalem for 2 years. And the graduated unit and one of the very appreciated professors, Haim Adler, that he is now not with us, he passed some months ago, he made the connection between me and Eitan Moran, the executive director of the Society for Advancement of Education. And we met many, many times. And he asked me to come and to work with the society. And he told me actually that he worry about the situation in Israel, about the relations between Arabs and Jews. And he feel that, and also the board of directors, there is a responsibility to do something with the Arab society. And he told me that this is a part of the commitment and our vision to do with the Arab society. At that time, this is 5 years ago, the only one that worked with the society for a part-time. And I am very proud that Professor Ayman Ighbariya and Professor Khalid Abu Asbe and Ayman Saif, that he was the head of the Authority for Economic Development in the Prime Minister office, and he lived in the Triangle area, and Hussam Abu Bakr and many from the Arab community in the Triangle area expressed their willingness and their readiness to do something for the community. We came with the strategic plan, and actually we started with those people, with the all all means of the society and the experience. And actually we started to establish the Sindiana, the first Arab youth village. And this is the fifth year. We have 450 students. And as Ayman, that I am very, very, very proud, and I will be very happy if you will utilize that he with us, because he can answer your question, not just regarding to the Arab society, about the ultra-Orthodox, about the education in general in Israel and also in the Arab world, because he's professor of education and cultural studies. But as he said, we emphasize the issue of leadership. The second, this is identity and culture. And the third, this is science and the social excellency. This is the three issues, and our vision is to build and to prepare the next generation of leadership in the Arab society. This is how I started, and I was engaged.
You. I'm going to want to ask you something similar to what we posed to people working in the Haredi community. What are the unique challenges that need to be addressed within the Arab community, and what might there be in the way of misinformation or misconception about education, if there is such a thing in the Arab community?
Yeah, maybe I'll give my take on this. I think it's there are several challenges. You know, I'll be speaking more about like the educational challenges, I would say, though you could consider these as also socio-political challenges. The first challenge is the challenge of equality. I mean, in terms of, you know, funding, you know, governmental resources, you know, allocation of budgets, you know, and we are familiar about the gaps between Arabs and Jews. I mean, we don't need to put more like, you know, statistics on the table to convince that there are gaps and there are disparities between the two communities. So this would be a major challenge, like to come and to try to bridge the gap between the governmental investments in the Arab schools and vis-a-vis the Jewish schools. So this would be a first challenge. The second one is the challenge of power sharing. I mean, and in this regard, it means that, you know, the Arab community, you know, they seek for more influence, for more power sharing, for more to have a seat on the table, in the sense, you know, they want to influence policies and not only to consume policies. They want to be part and parcel of how educational policies are framed, drafted, you know, implemented, you know. So this would be the second one, you know, like to be more present, to have more capacities in influencing, you know, policies and decision making. The third one is which is recognition. And recognition, it comes to the issue that, you know, it's not enough to have equality in terms of, you know, funds. You know, the issue is not just, you know, to have better rooms or better equipment or better computer labs, or, you know, this we need this, but this is not enough, because the issue here is also about recognizing, you know, the historical, the Palestinian historical narrative of the pupils, you know, their history, their collective identity, their collective memories. And this is why when I was saying about, you know, to exercise their humanity and to reflect their humanity, full humanity, is to recognition is a vital, a basic human need. People need to be recognized as such, as they are, as Martin Buber would say, kikachutam. They are Arabs. They have their own culture, tradition. So we wanna. So it's a huge challenge as how to put emphasis on this, in this, you know, component of their identity, and still be, you know, Israeli citizens, you know. And so this is a huge challenge, to be a Palestinian and to be an Israeli, and how you combine both, and how you could integrate these components. And the last one is equality, and equality of education, as simple as that. You know, so far the public education system has been failing. There is no way to describe this in a nice words. You know, the achievements of the Arab pupils in the Arab public schools, like in the international, say, tests, you know, like PISA, BERLS, you know, TIMSS, you know, all these international surveys, you know, conducted through the OECD, through, you know, these international agencies, they have been persistently showing that Arab kids are performing worse than students or pupils in Qatar or in Jordan or in Lebanon or in Tajikistan. You know, these are grades or results of the third world. You know, Dan Ben David, a friend of mine, you know, is a researcher in Tel Aviv University. He phrased it this way, that Jewish pupils are at the level of the first world, Arab pupils are at the level of the third world. And so this is the in terms of the quality, and to what extent this, you know, kind of quality of education would take them into the higher education. Now, it could take them into the higher education system, but there will be low performance. I mean, there would be, you know, like they would finish with a BA, you know, and they would be, so there is less emphasis on the creativity, on technology, on like to be on the cutting edge of innovation, of creativity. So this is why we need to put more emphasis on the quality education, not only in terms that this would take them into the higher education system, but this kind of education that would make them philosophers, sociologists, you know, inventors, you know, people who could, you know, start with high-tech startups. So this would be the four major challenges, you know, that are facing Arab education, and we have this, and we are trying to deal with this, you know, through Sindiana. I could say more about how this has been challenged or encountered at the school level.
So some of what you just said and what Ali had mentioned before brings to mind the conversation I was lucky enough to have when I visited Sindiana, that culture and identity play such a strong role in the school. And I would say, unfortunately, many schools don't remark about that, but culture and identity are very powerful motivators, no matter what the population is. How, on a practical level, is that manifested? Ali, how does culture and identity play a specific, tangible role in Sindiana?
Yeah, we believe that the identity is something not static. We think that identity is something is dynamic. And we believe that people can live with many identities. Some of those identities can live together, and some of those identities, sometimes there is a confrontation between those identities. But we believe that when we educate and give the students and also the teachers, not just the students, the opportunity to learn more about their history, about their narrative, about their situation, about their symbols. And in the other hand, also to learn more about other civilizations and other cultures and other societies, and specifically to the Jewish society in Israel, because we are in the Society for Advancement of Education. We are, as you've seen, as you saw, there is many communities. There is the ultra-Orthodox, there is Palestinians, there Arab Palestinians, there is seculars, there is religious people, and we try to make also the connections. And as Habermas said, the communication act, to have them together and to think and to do something together. And we have new initiatives. I will be very happy if Ayman will talk about that. We have, as example, the great works. We choose books, we choose plays, we choose musicians and poets, and we try to talk those documents or those activities or those means, and work with them and to give the students the opportunity, and the teachers and also the parents, to learn more and to criticize, not just to take, also to criticize and to try to influence the reality. I feel that there is some pluralizations or dichotomy sometimes, that this is some of the challenges that we face every day in our society, and specifically in the school, between the willingness or the desire to be individual or to be part of a collective, to be a between localism and globalism, between modernity or to be fundamentalist, between to be Palestinian and not to see Israel at all, or to be Israeli and not to see Palestine and to be the Palestinian narrative at all, between socialism or to be capitalism. And I think, and we think, all of us together, our role as educators and as leadership is to expose our students and teachers and the community and the parents to those trends, and to try to give our students the means how to think, how to take decision, how to make the balance, what is the right thing to do, and all those all this should be based on a value تشتيت
Infrastructure.
infrastructure.
Thank you. Dr. Maria, you wanted to comment?
Yeah, on the practical level, I think the school as a one class like weekly, which on tradition. It's called like, this is like a heritage and tradition, you know. So there's a teacher that specializes in this subject, trying to promote and advance kind of cultural literacy, you know, like things that you are supposed to know, you know. I know this is a little bit conservative, you know, like this cultural literacy thing in the United States, you know. Maybe it's not the most progressive way to approach it. But we think that, you know, to start with, it is very important, you know, that, you know, there is in the curriculum, in the schedule, there is this 1 hour a week that there's a teacher and he talks about culture, you know, things that we think. And beside this, you know, we have this program of, you know, like great walks, you know, that everyone, the community, the students, we keep changing this, you know, like list, you know, sometimes it's my list, sometimes, you know, the teacher's list. We want to invest more in this great works, you know, initiative. And the second thing, you know, we want to develop, and this, I mean, this is something that we want to develop more, you know, the arts, you know, because, you know, identity is a very empty space, you know. We need to put things in this empty space called identity. You know, we are not interested in, you know, like fundamentalist Palestinians or, you know, fanatic or, you know, whatever. You know, we want them to talk about their identity, but through creative arts, you know. So we want to develop more the arts tracks in the university. We have already a track for theater, but still this is very underdeveloped. You know, this is only the beginning. You know, we want to invest this so the students would have, you know, like audio system, they would have light systems, they would have, you know, at least to experience what does it mean to be in a theater, you know, how to produce a play. And this is not a huge investment. I think this is something that, you know, people could, you know, put, you know, efforts together to build this, you know, theater tracks. The second thing is the idea of teachers who are intellectuals. You know, so how you develop teachers to be more sensitive, with more cultural awareness, with more, you know, to be more attentive to the public discourse, you know. And this idea of teachers as intellectuals, we want to invest more in this, you know, because we believe that if teachers would come to schools only as technocrats, as professionals who wants to get in and get out, you know, we will not, you know, this will not be sustainable. So we want to invest also more in guiding the teachers in cultural pedagogies, like to talk to the talk and walk the walk, as you say. You know, we want them to be more comfortable with their home page. I would say, you know, they have their own page, cultural home page. So we want to introduce them to their cultural home page to be more easy to talk about it, more familiar. And this needs to cultivate the capacities of the teachers, you know, to guide them more, to work with them more on their cultural capacities.
I can tell you that in English, in education, there's a phrase, culture trumps content, that culture is so powerful, it actually surpasses and transcends literal content. I don't know if there's a comparable bitui in Hebrew or in Arabic. I wanted to get, Yedida posted something on the chat. Are you also promoting a Shirut Le'omi, national service within your community? And if you could respond to that quickly, because I also wanted to see what you saw was the vision for the future. Is Sindiana, is it possible to be replicated? Is there a need to be replicated in other parts of Israel? Do you see Sindiana growing from 450 to 500, 800? Is that even important? But first, a question from Yedidia.
Yeah,
is there an idea about
maybe I will take the first. I will take the first question, and Ayman maybe will take the second question. And also there is other question by Yedida.
Yedida, yeah. Friend, Yedida. I like to ask a lot of questions, yeah, especially in education.
Shalom, Yedida. Yeah. Regarding to Shirut Le'omi, national service is not, our students is not in the age of Shirut Le'omi. They are Our school is a middle school and a high school, and most of the students go to the university after that immediately. But I want to tell you that when I started to work with the Society for Advancement of Education, the first project that we initiated is Jafra Leadership Project. This project, we organize groups of students, of Arabs. They were not students yet, and they finish the high school and they have the gap year and they don't know what to do. And we organized groups in 3 municipalities, in Quran, in Sakhnin, and in Abu Snan. Each group contains something of 26, half of them women and some of them men, girls and boys. And we give them knowledge, theoretical and practical knowledge. They meet twice a week. We give them leadership skills, and we give them the opportunity to make tour learning, to come to museums, to come and to meet with Jewish students for a weekends in our boarding schools, and they also visited different Arab groups from the south, the Bedouin, and from people that are, if they are Muslims, they meet with Christian or with Druze, with others. And the 4th component was voluntarism, personal and collective voluntarism. They volunteer in their municipalities. Each of them made something very meaningful, and many of them work together to initiate new programs and to raise the awareness of their society. And they also did something tangible, not just about awareness. It's not part of the Sharut Le'umi, but it is part of our believes that there is something that we should take responsibility for our future, and we should do something for our community.
Thank you. That's what I meant after high school, because they receive all this great education and the being proud of the culture and being inclusive and being tolerate to other cultures. So if they can volunteer within your community and then spread that, that education and spread other seeds within the community, I think the students will feel better, and I think the community in large will benefit from that. So.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
The last sentence that we finished this project, it's worked for 4 years, and there is 300 students that they finished, and they accept, all of them, they accepted to subjects and issues that they wanted to learn in the university.
Thank you, Yedidi. I appreciate the question. Dr. Barrio, we only have just a few minutes. Could you address where perhaps the Sindiana model might be going in the future?
I think we don't want to rush and duplicate or have more like Sindiana. We have as a school, we have, I mean, we need the principles, not the model. The principles, this we need along all the way. I mean, not the model. The model, it's okay. This was good for Sindiana. If you want another school, it should be with the same ideas, but maybe a different model, if it's in the north or if it's in the south, wherever it is. Now, what is that, what we want to do with Sindiana, it's still on shaky ground, I must say. It is, we have managed to establish, we have now the infrastructure, we have the teachers, we have the principals, it's working. Now the real job is, the real job is to deepen, to indigenize, to make routines, to make things, as protocols. You want to standardize. You want to structure a lot of things, and this needs time. This is why I don't want to say we are wonderful and we need now only what to do is just to duplicate Sindiana. This wouldn't be true. I think what we need now is to to deepen our work with teachers, to diversify the way we work with our students in terms of the tracks. We need more tracks, that are more culturally responsive. You've been speaking about culturally responsive, programs. It's not only just data, it's culturally responsive, programs, especially in arts. We want to invest in this, diversify this, and in order to, we have a dream, that the next generation, we have people who are, in chemistry and in biology and but we don't have good sociologists, we don't have good philosophers, we don't have good statisticians, we don't have PhDs in languages, we don't, so you want to train the next elite. If you want to train the upcoming elite to be proud of its culture, a citizen of its state, you need to put more emphasis on these elites in terms of, these, tracks, diversify the tracks, bring more higher education thinking into the school. We have, next year we would launch the Sindiana Academy, which is trying to simulate, what does it mean, or how does it look to live or to be in a university, to bring this experience into the school, in specializations. So we have a lot to do. We have a lot to do, still to deepen our work.
So Ali and Dr. Abharia, thank you so much for, again, giving us just a bit of a glimpse. For me, the takeaway might be obvious, but there are so many similarities, and that's how I try to open it up, between different schools and different populations. Obviously, there are differences in a pluralist school, in a quote unquote secular school, which means very different things in an Israeli context, in a Haredi school, in an Arab school, and yet the issues of culture and the diversified track are so similar. I'll tell you one very personal thing that resonated with me, both in terms of Shoshanim and your comments in Sindiana, the efficacy of theater. My wife and I are lucky to have a son who is an actor, playwright, singer. And I can tell you, as somebody who's seen theater as a camp director, as a school director, there's probably no more powerful experience and no more group experience than that which takes place on the stage, even more than a ball field, more than the athletic court. The commonality, the work that one does with one's peers, it's a phenomenal experience. So not that I have a vote any place, but I'm so right with you that God willing, theater will be part of the school and part of all of our schools. So thank you so much. Our last in the series, our third conversation is going to be about excellence in education. We're going to take a look at 2 new schools that are going to be open from SAE, a school for social responsibility and sustainability, and an IB school for 11th and 12th graders. Really exciting. And hopefully you'll be able to take a look at that conversation and suggest it to your friends as well. So thank you so much for spending the time with us. For those in Israel, Erev Tov. For those in the States, in the East Coast, good afternoon. Anybody